Welcome to Analects of Wisdom. In this series of Vedas, sacred texts summarized, we bring timeless insights from the world's most sacred texts to light. Today, we delve into the Vedas, ancient hymns and teachings that stand at the very foundation of India's spiritual heritage. Passed down through countless generations, these texts embody humanity's enduring search for meaning and connection. Join us as we explore the mysteries, wisdom, and relevance of these ancient verses for our lives today. In an age so distant that it has faded into legend, the Vedas arose as the earliest wellspring of India's spiritual heritage. Their origins stretch back through countless generations of oral tradition, carried by seers and sages who committed each syllable to memory with painstaking care. While modern scholarship divides them into four primary collections, Rig, Yaja, Sama, and Atharva, each with its own clusters of hymns, rituals, and contemplative discourses. The essence of the Vedas remains one of profound mystery and sacred inquiry. Over centuries, they served both as the bedrock of a vast spiritual culture and as a framework for everyday life, shaping the moral and intellectual fabric of ancient India. Among these collections, the Rig Veda stands out as particularly ancient and influential. Its more than 1,000 hymns evoke cosmic forces as living presences, Agni as the flame bridging mortal and divine realms, Indra as a dynamic power wrestling storms into submission and banishing darkness, and Soma as an enigmatic elixir said to inspire poets, invigorate warriors, and grant glimpses of immortality. For many generations, these descriptions were taken at face value, interpreted as prayers and invocations to external deities believed to govern the natural world and human affairs alike. Yet, a deeper strand of meaning wound itself through the verses, concealed in symbolic language and waiting for a subtler understanding. In the modern era, one of the most notable explorations of this underlying symbolism came from Sri Aurobindo, a revolutionary thinker, poet, yogi, and mystic who took up residence in Pondicherry in the early 20th century. His studies of the Rig Veda, the Upanishads, and other ancient texts led him to propose that the Vedic gods function not merely as celestial personalities, but as manifestations of vast cosmic principles woven into the structure of existence. In his voluminous writings, especially in works like The Secret of the Veda and Hymns to the Mystic Fire, he posited that these hymns encode an inner evolution of consciousness, describing in allegorical form a journey from ignorance to illumination. Excerpt from The Secret of the Veda. The Vedic mystics had discovered the secret that the gods to whom they offered the sacrifice were not alien powers, but cognate and even kin to the inmost being of man. In other words, Sri Aurobindo believed that the Vedic rishis, those ancient seers, were pointing to a hidden layer of psychological and spiritual truths. Although later interpretations focused on ritual and external worship, he suggested that the original intention was a deeper, more interior transformation. Agni, the flame of aspiration. Through this lens, Agni ceases to be only the sacrificial fire and becomes the fire of aspiration within the human heart. It stands for the restless spark that drives individuals to question, to seek truth, and to transform themselves. The Vedic verses in which Agni is invoked as the knower of all things born suggest that this flame is intimately aware of every fibre of one's inner being and can, if carefully nourished, guide one toward a more luminous state of existence. Agni's flames are said to carry offerings to the gods, but in a subtler sense, it is the power of focused will that carries human consciousness upward to realms of insight and inspiration. Rig Veda 1.1.1, as cited by Sri Aurobindo in Hymns to the Mystic Fire. Agni, the divine priest who stands in front of the sacrifice, the wise, the god of the call, the seer who most bestows the treasure. In his commentary, Sri Aurobindo explains that this treasure is not merely material wealth, but a bounty of spiritual light. Agni becomes the divine mediator, not just between mortals and some distant pantheon, but between the fragmented parts of our consciousness and the luminous wholeness that lies beyond our ordinary perception. Excerpt from Hymns to the Mystic Fire. Agni is the first and the chief god of the Vedic mystics, at once the cosmic power of light and heat and the psychical power of will and knowledge in man. Indra, the thunderbolt of clarity. Indra's presence in the Vedas appears more dramatic. He is the wielder of the thunderbolt, the slayer of demons, and the liberator of the waters. Mythologically, he wages war against Vritra, a serpent-like being or force that withholds the life-giving rains from the world. Yet, in Sri Aurobindo's interpretation, the real drama unfolds within human consciousness. Indra's battles are the inner struggles to break through barriers of doubt, apathy, or ignorance. The thunderbolt, or Vajra, becomes the power of clarity to shatter obstructions that would otherwise confine the mind to narrow thinking. The deluge of water that follows the defeat of Vritra symbolizes the release of creativity, spiritual intuition, and boundless possibility. Excerpt from The Secret of the Veda. Indra is the master of mental force. He is the god who finds the sun, the hidden light. He is the cow finder and the finder of the waters. He must break open by the thunderbolt of his energy the dark caves of the subconscious. Here, Sri Aurobindo portrays the Vedic gods not as distant overseers of natural phenomena, but as powers alive within us. Indra's struggle against Vritra, when interpreted symbolically, underscores the universal human task of confronting and transforming one's inner demons. Soma, the elixir of transcendence. The Vedic concept of Soma, as described in many of the hymns, has long fascinated scholars, who note references to it as a divine drink, perhaps a plant extract, or a ritual potion with hallucinogenic properties. While some researchers look for botanical evidence, Sri Aurobindo's approach focuses on Soma as an inner experience, the bliss that pours into consciousness when one ascends beyond ordinary perception to a higher plane of unity and insight. Rig Veda 848.3. We have drunk Soma, we have become immortal, we have gone to the light, we have found the gods. In Sri Aurobindo's reading, to drink Soma is to touch the rapture of higher consciousness, to be momentarily or enduringly transformed by the direct experience of the divine. The jubilant proclamations of immortality found in the Vedic verses speak to the discovery of a timeless dimension within, a space in which one experiences an unshakable sense of harmony and oneness. Excerpt from The Secret of the Veda. Soma is the supreme delight, which is the secret of the supramental existence, the delight that draws man's soul beyond its mortal boundaries. This tapestry of imagery, Agni as will and aspiration, Indra as the mind's triumph over darkness, Soma as the rapture of transcendence, reveals a sophisticated spiritual psychology embedded within the ancient hymns. Where more literal readings might cast the Vedas as archaic texts concerned with external sacrifices and cosmic transactions, the symbolic reading points to an unending human quest for meaning, purpose, and self-realization. The sacrificial fire becomes the inner altar on which negative tendencies are offered up to be burned. The battles of the gods become metaphors for psychological and spiritual conflicts, and the rapturous Soma songs become invitations to dwell in a heightened state of awareness. Sri Aurobindo, The Secret of the Veda. The rishis composed these hymns in a state of inspired vision and luminous inner experience. Their words, veiled in symbol, carry the living seed of a grander truth. From a historical perspective, the Vedas exerted enormous influence on the religious and cultural development of the Indian subcontinent. Their resonance can be traced through subsequent scriptures and philosophical traditions, from the elaborate ritual instructions of the Brahmanas to the introspective dialogues of the Upanishads. Yet, even with thousands of years separating these earliest compositions from the present day, their core challenge remains startlingly relevant. They address the timeless human condition, characterized by existential questions, yearnings for transcendence, and the pull between our mundane routine and our highest aspirations. In the hands of interpreters like Sri Aurobindo, the Vedas emerge not as inert documents of ancient ritual, but as living guides to self-transformation. Though their verses originated in a culture that practiced fire sacrifices and revered elemental forces, their truths speak to an internal horizon that remains just as real to modern seekers as it was to the sages of old. The transformations described, igniting the flames of determination, bursting through the walls of ignorance and tasting the essence of the immortal, are experiences that echo in every age, from the dawn of civilization to the digital world of today. In considering the Vedas through this symbolic framework, it becomes clear that the boundaries between the material and the spiritual, the human and the divine, are more permeable than commonly assumed. The text's references to the workings of cosmic power can be reread as mirrors to the workings of the psyche, revealing unsuspected depths within. The journey from darkness to light, so poetically recounted in the Vedic hymns, unfolds as an inward pilgrimage, one that countless individuals have undertaken, whether they name it spiritual awakening, self-realization, or simply personal growth. Sri Aurobindo, The Life Divine. The human soul is on a perpetual quest. It climbs from peak to peak of consciousness, aided by the secret fires it carries within. While the life divine focuses primarily on the evolution of consciousness and the transition from the mental to the supramental plane, its insights harmonize with the Vedic message that our own spiritual journey mirrors cosmic processes. Indeed, the Vedic rishis often spoke of a divine dawn that ascends within human awareness, an inner light that heralds higher knowledge. Thus, the Vedas remain a testament to humanity's oldest recorded attempts to comprehend existence and to glimpse the eternal. Beneath their archaic language lies a perennial wisdom that beckons the modern mind to see beyond surface distinctions. Sri Aurobindo's exegetical efforts to decode the Vedas exemplify how timeless truths can flower anew in contemporary understanding. Agni's flames can still burn bright in a seeker's heart, Indra's thunderbolt can still demolish the inner citadels of fear, and Soma's nectar can still be savoured in moments of profound insight. Even millennia after the first hymns were breathed into the silence of the dawn, the journey they describe lives on, in every earnest search for the secret of our own eternal nature. In immersing ourselves in the Vedic corpus, and equally in Sri Aurobindo's visionary commentaries, we are invited to light the flame of Agni in our own consciousness, to wield Indra's thunderbolt against the illusions that bind us, and to taste the ineffable Soma that reveals our eternal connection to the divine. For those with the patience to look beneath the surface, the Vedas are not mere historical artifacts, but living texts that continue to guide the soul's passage from darkness to light. Thank you for joining us on Analects of Wisdom, sacred texts summarized. If you found this valuable, please share and subscribe.